guys, we're going to talk about how you can solve an inequality with our favorite, not really our favorite, when a negative is involved with the variable. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, you can totally do this. It's just the negative that is throwing you off, but you can totally do it. Okay, so we got our problem here. We have negative x minus 16 is less than or equal to 32. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to circle my variable. When I circle my variable, I'm going to notice, hey, there is a negative with it. So I have a negative 8x. Since my variable has a negative 8x connected to it, I also have to pay attention to the inequality symbol in the end. So I'm going to circle that, and then I'm going to write above it that I have to flip this in the end. So I'm going to flip my inequality in the end. And the reason why I'm flipping my inequality is because I have a negative 8x. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line down. So I have my left side and I have my right side. I cannot touch the negative 8. The reason why I can't touch the negative 8 is because it is connected to the variable. The variable is the last thing that we move. So I'm going to focus in on the negative 16. So you got to think of the inverse operations. So the opposite of subtracting 16 is adding 16. So I'm going to put an add 16 underneath it. Now, just like we talked in class, the negative 16 and the positive 16 cancel each other out because they make a zero pair. So now that's gone. Whatever I do on the left side, I now have to do to the right side. So I'm going to add 16 on this side. So now I have 48. I'm going to keep the less than or equal to. I'm going to circle it again, so it's just a reminder, hey, you need to do something with that, Bowser. And now I have a negative 8x. So I know it's negative 8 times something is less than or equal to 48. Okay, the opposite or the inverse of a negative 8 multiplying with it is dividing. So now I'm going to divide by a negative 8. And whatever I do on one side, I'm going to do to the other. So I'm going to divide by a negative 8. So now I'm left with x on the left-hand side. Okay, so now I have 48 divided by negative 8. Okay, so say I needed some help with dividing integers. I can draw myself a triangle. Okay, I have a positive, I have a negative, and I have a negative. Right now, I have a positive 48, so I'm going to cross out the positive sign. I have a negative 8, so I'm going to cross out the negative. So I'm left with a negative. Or you can remember, hey, if I have two different signs, that means that my answer is always going to be a negative. So I have negative, and then 48 divided by 8 is 6. So I have 6. Now, we wrote at the very beginning that we have to flip this inequality symbol because I have a negative 8x. So if I'm going to flip this inequality from a less than or equal to sign, it's going to change to a greater than or equal to sign. So now I know that the answer is x is greater than or equal to negative 6. So now you can check your work. And the reason why you would check your work is to make sure that you got the answer correct. So I'm going to go ahead and draw me a number line because it helps me pick out a number that is either equal to negative 6 or greater. So I'm going to go ahead and draw it. Okay, so it reads that x is greater than or equal to negative 6. So I'm going to put a dot on negative 6. Okay, it is greater than or equal to. That equal to tells you that, hey, you have to color in your dot. Okay, and we're looking for numbers that are greater than negative 6. So negatives are tricky. So if you're looking for a number that's greater than negative 6, you need to be looking to the numbers to the right of negative 6 because they're getting closer and closer to 0, which means they're getting closer and closer to positive numbers which hold more value. Okay, so it would go this way. So now that I'm looking at my algebra. Okay, I'm looking at my graph. I need to check my work. The way I'm going to check my work is that I'm going to pick a number that is greater than -6. So I'm going to go across my number line. The easiest number to work with that's greater than -6 is 0. So I'm going to plug 0 into the equation, or the inequality. So now I have -8 times, instead of using x, I'm now going to use 0 because it is greater than -6. Minus 16 would be less than or equal to 32. So I'm going to start with the parentheses. So -8 times 0 is 0. So then I have 0 minus 16 is less than or equal to 32. So now 0 minus 16 is a -16. So I have -16 is less than or equal to 32. And that is a true statement because a negative is always less than a positive. Okay, so this is just a real quick video about how to solve an inequality when you're given a negative coefficient with the variable. And check out for another video here in a little bit. So I hope this helps you. Have a great day, guys. Bye.